And here are the standings after 6 rounds in the FIDE Candidates Final 2016. Some people call it the Moscow Candidates Final, whatever you want to call it. Tied for first, Sergei Karyakin and Levin Aronian. Levin beat Hakarl in the last round, round 6. Anand with 3.5. Caruana and Gary with 3. Svidler with 2.5. And on the bottom, Topalov. And unfortunately, my buddy from the U.S., Carl Nakamura. -2 after 6 games. That's tough duty for Carl. I know he played in 2 games where he was really worse in an end game and suffered and got through with draws. And he had a heartbreaker against Aronian in round 6, a rook pawn ending that. This one badly for him. But anyway, he'll bounce back. He always does. So there's the standings after 6 rounds. Hi folks, John Cordisco back again. Round 7 of the World Chess Candidates Final 2016. This is between, unfortunately, the 2 guys in the bottom of the list. When I say unfortunately, because white is a Carl Nakamura, guy I like a lot from the United States, and his black, former world champion, Topalov from Bulgaria. Let's get to it. It's going to be a Slav defense, d4 for Nakamura, Topalov. We'll go through the opening here. There's really no point. I don't know a lot of opening theories, so my videos really aren't about openings. Knight takes, pawn takes. Rook b1. Interesting way to play it. Let's go back here. Bishop d2 probably looks standard. h3 maybe. Queen b3. Rook b1. Knight comes out. c5, close another position, a5, and a3. Okay. You can see why Carl won rook to b1, because we get some queenside moves there. When you retake with the a pawn, the rook isn't hanging. Bishop b7. Carl decides to fianchetto his bishop. Really, there's no point putting it here, because you can't go here, here, or here. So it's kind of limited. e5, the bishop, and e4 closes it off even more. Black's got a lot of space on the king side. Open h-file. Computer basically shows it as even, and I agree. The thing I really do like is this knight could probably hop around here. I don't know what this bishop's going to do for a while. b4, pawn takes, pawn takes. If he had played rook instead, then he would go b6. And that wouldn't be that good for white. After a takes, what are you going to do here? Knight f8. Kind of like a King's Indian move. It's going to bring the knight back around. b5. Knight e6. Bishop d2, and castles. Okay. We just finished move 16. Black looks okay, white looks okay. That's the only thing I don't like about white's position is his dark squared bishop's kind of hemmed in. But other than that, it's a game. Knight to a4. Knight g5. Eyeballing that f3 square. What to do? Castle or h4. Carl decides to go h4 instead. Knight goes to f3 check. Bishop takes. E takes. Now we all can see why queen takes, loses. Because it hangs the knight. Queen's guarding the knight. Pawn takes, pawn takes. Knight c3, moves the knight. Alright, now the f-pawn's in pre. So this is where I think Topalov sat down and did some serious thinking. He's in last place, tied for last. We're in round 7. He decides to do a sacrifice here. Now I'll call it a Tal sacrifice. Not because Tal He was a great player, which he was. But sometimes the sacrifice right at the right time may not be sound, but it's certainly, if your opponent has to make many times only moves to survive, it's worth it. He decides to take bishop takes c5. It's calculated risk. Carl has to take d4. Pawn takes, queen takes. Now, believe it, we go to keep score here. White's up a bishop for a pawn. But it's less than a pawn advantage for white. So that means there's something here. And white has to be extremely careful. Queen takes f3 is probably not a good idea. Castles. Right move for a Carl. Now, you have to be precise and you have to be quick. When you sacrifice a piece, you can't waste tempos. You must continue the attack and continue it hard. Now the computer likes rook f to d8 and rook a to d8. Obviously that's important. Now you're threatening to win a piece, which is going to cause rook to b2. He decided to go queen to g4. Of course, we all see what the threat is. Queen and then mate. But black's got to find a way to guard this pawn. Rook d1, correct move. So far, since the sacrifice, Carl has made every correct move. And he's eating up a lot of time, which is unusual for a Carl. He's not usually in time trouble. Finally, the rook comes over. Rook to b2. Again, the correct move. Is that hard to find? Yeah, kind of. Rook to d4. Computer like rook to a7. I don't know why. Maybe just to double up on the d file. Rook d7 probably with the same idea. Or just plain old rook d3 to guard that pawn. Rook d4. Carl has to be careful now. Very careful. I probably would have played rook e3, hitting the f-pawn twice. Decides to go rook to e7. If he had gone rook to e3, rook a to d8, knight to b1, the knight saves the day, as we all know. And knight's an extremely good defensive piece. After rook to e7, he doubles up. Queen finally gets the move. And everybody's thinking, okay, Carl loses. What's stopping going queen here, then queen here? He can't stop it. Well, queen checks. King comes up. Mate. So you can't do that. So he decides to do the logical move, rook to f8. Now, right now, computer shows it as even. But computers don't. They really don't know these things. I think white has a decisive advantage. Queen to d1. Rook f to d8. Queen to b3 with the same threat of check. Now knight to d1. Here it comes. This knight's going to come up here. And he's going to guard two very important squares. He's going to hit the queen and guard the mating square. And this is why I think Topalov loses it. And I'll tell you the truth, it's not that crazy of a move. It's knight to d5. And just like that, I think white is out of the doghouse. But Carl still has to be careful. Interesting might have been instead queen to f5. Then after rook to e3, queen to d7. And I think maybe, oddly enough, black can survive this. There's two results for white, a draw or a win. But after knight to d5, rook to e5, this is where I think Topalov stumbles again. Rook a8 maybe. Knight f6. Decides to go king h7. The computer didn't like that very much. I don't know why. King to h2. Excellent, excellent. What that does now, if this queen moves anywhere, stops the queen from coming in. So king to h7. Excuse me, king to h2, excuse me. Knight to f6. Bishop e3, hitting the rook. c3 might have been even better, but e3 is good enough. Rook to b8. This is starting to get hairy here. Queen takes. Rook takes. Rook to b1 to get rid of the rook. And now black is lost. He has been for a while. Queen to d7. Rook g5. We'll go through the rest of the moves. Knight e4. Rook takes. Queen takes. And then the final blow, queen f4. And that's it. And that's your Veselin Topalov, former world champion, resigns. To give you an idea, after knight takes, pawn takes, and you're up a full piece. Your king's not in any danger. The queen can't get to the king. The other queen's just going to roam around. You're just doomed. And that's where Veselin gives it up. To give you an idea, say you would take this knight for free. Queen f1, and the game's over. Can't guard the g2 queening square. You have to give away the queen. So you still have to be careful. But anyway, folks, win number 1 for Carl. I think this is a huge deal, at least because I'm a Carl fan. So that puts him at 3 points. It's getting towards the middle of the pack. And here we are at the halfway point in the FIDE Candidates Final 2016. I hope you enjoyed this game. I certainly did. 7 more rounds to go. Go USA. And as I always say, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.